All right, I'm going to make a video on my daughter's 2002 Honda Rancher ES electric shift. It's a 4x4. We just picked it up a couple weeks ago, and I'm pretty sure the choke is stuck on. It rides, seems like it rides fine for the most part, but as you can see, this is actually broke. I don't know if you can see that there, but the threads are snapped off, and I tried holding this and moving this up and down, and to me it looks like it's stuck open. You can see the plunger right down there, so it's obviously not good to drive around with your choke open, and I can't get it to budge. So I'm going to remove it right now. I don't have the new one yet, but I think I'm going to order the full kit. I just want to get this out and compare it to the one that I see online. But anyway, I'll make a video on it. First thing I'm going to do to get this cable out, I tie a string to it and I pull it out so I get my cable routing correct. Cable routing is very important, whether it's throttle, cable, brake cable, whatever. So easy way to do it, you pull a string with it, tie it off somewhere, and then when you pull the new one in, it goes exactly where it's supposed to go. There's the top of our carburetor. We're going to start removing some stuff so we can get better access to that. Alright, so I found the other end of the choke, not even hooked up. So I don't know if the carburetor, you know, is stuck with the choke on a little bit, part way, whatever, who's to say. We just picked this up a couple weeks ago. Nice quad. The kid that sold it to us was a decent enough kid, fair price for the condition it was in. You know, it's actually in really nice condition. She already got mud all over it, of course, but it's what they're made for. But anyway, the choke cable was completely disconnected. I don't know if he knew that or not, but either way, we got to get that hooked up. It's been starting fine without it. So again, I don't know if the choke's like this partially open all the time, so it's starting and running, but we're going to dig into this a little bit. Alright, so once again, here's our choke cable. You can see it's behind these two, I'm assuming those are vacuum lines. It's going along the tank, going through this big wire tie, and headed that way. Alright, we're going to take our string, and got a little bit of electrical tape here, and we're going to tape that right to there, and then we can pull the cable out. There's the other end of your string. Be sure to take this, tie it off to handlebars or whatever. Same thing on the other end. Find something to tie it off on, and that way you get your routing exactly the same. So there's the old cable out. Again, it's snapped off there, and hanging on to this cable and trying to pull this, I can't get it to budge, so this thing's been locked up for a long time. It's messed up on the end. Oop, that'll focus, maybe. There we go. So anyway, that cable's no good. I thought maybe I could lubricate it and get it to free up, but even if I could do that, it doesn't change the fact that this is broke. And I still don't know what's going on down at the carburetor, so we're headed that way next. Alright, we're going to start working on this carb, so go ahead and obviously shut your fuel to off. It's your pointer. That's pointing up, that's reserve. So again, just make sure you're to the off position. There's the other vent hose that broke off of this. I noticed that earlier. I could tell something snapped off there, obviously. So there's the other end. So I got to get a new T. Alright, so start by loosening up your gas line. That happens to be a 6mm on that clamp. I'm assuming that's not OEM, but anyway, mine was 6mm. Not sure what you have on yours, but loosen that guy up. Again, make sure your fuel's off, and just pop that guy off. Next, we're going to loosen up this Phillips head screw where we're connected to the airbox. Right there. And then we're going to find the other screw. Which is right there where my finger's pointing. I don't know if you're seeing that, but that's another Phillips head clamp. Got one more clamp to undo. I'm going to undo this clamp right there that goes in the airbox. That's going to allow us to push this back a little bit. I was just trying to do that off camera, and it's obviously holding me back, so loosen this guy up as well. Alright, so now we're able to push this airbox back a little bit. Should be able to wiggle this carburetor free. We're still obviously going to have our throttle cable hooked up, but I'm trying to get a little bit better access so I can get at that. And I think there's some wiring down at the bottom of the carb. We'll check that out in a second. Probably be a little bit easier if we took some more stuff off, but I'm going to try to avoid that if I can. But this carburetor should come free at this point. There we go. Alright, so break your throttle cable free right there. That'll focus. I got mine loose, so you should be able to, I know that's hard to see, should be able to unthread that. You can see the threads down at the bottom, so I'm going to keep going with that and pull that guy right out of there. Alright, so now that you got that throttle cable loosened up there, come down to this side of the carburetor. We're going to pop this screw out right here. Once that screws out, we can get our access cover off. Now we can undo our throttle cable. Starts here, wraps around, and then goes through there. Usually you can just push these back, loosen it up. It's going to be hard for me to do with only one hand, but then this piece will pop out and that cable will come right out. Alright, at that point you can get your carburetor out of here. There's plenty of access right here to pull that out and set it down here on the footrest. I think this is just the overflow tube on the bottom here, and the only thing you got left is this 2-wire connection right here. Grab a 12mm, break this guy free, and that guy will loosen right up. Alright, so there's the carburetor completely out, and that's where our choke cable was supposed to be. Right here. So we're going to take this apart and see what the problem was, why they didn't want to rehook that back up. I'm going to get a whole new assembly. I'm going to order that now, and I'll continue this video. You can see this thing obviously was hung up. The spring's all rusted. There's all kinds of gunk down there. I just ordered the parts. I ordered the OEM cable with all the parts like that spring and all the other pieces like that. And there's a few pieces that are missing on here. Once it gets here, I'll show you what it comes with. But I opted for the OEM. There is a set on eBay. It's a copy of it for like 18 bucks. You can get the entire set. The OEM set that I got ended up being about 45 bucks. The cable itself you can get OEM for about 17 or 18, but it doesn't come with all the parts. So anyway, I'm an OEM guy. Chinese stuff is all right. It's cheap. I'll use it on certain things, but anyway, I got the correct one. Once that comes in, I'll show you guys, and we'll get the rest of this going. All right, so I just want to show this part real quick in case you run into something similar. So obviously got the carb out, and the old, I don't know what to call it, the brass valve or whatever it is that's inside of here, mine was stuck. It wouldn't budge. I sprayed it with lubricant and tried to get some needle nose pliers in there and turn it, and it just didn't want to go. So I ended up taking a drill, hopefully you can see that better, and drilling a hole through the brass piece, and I have an easy out in there now, and I'm going to try to twist that out of there, and hopefully it comes out clean, and then I can do the rest of the video and show you guys how to install. Parts came in yesterday, so once I get this out, I'll show you guys all the parts that came with the kit. All right, so my daughter can ride. So I just want to go over this real quick. I ordered this cable in the choke kit from eBay. I have pretty good luck on eBay most of the time. But anyway, I thought I paid up a little bit to get the original genuine Honda stuff. The cable is original Honda. That's the number right there if you need it. These really only go for about 20 bucks, believe it or not, through Honda. Or at least online anyway. So he sent me that, but they sent me a made in China kit with the spring and all the other pieces. So he sent it to me, and this is one of them. He sent it to me twice. If you look at this, I'm going to call it a plunger. If you look at the plunger here, this is way too long. So I got back to the guy and said, hey, look at, most of this stuff looks right, but the plunger's too long. I sent him a picture of the original. And this one, he said, oh, sorry, I'll get you out a new set right away. He sends a new set, kicking around here somewhere, and he sends me the identical thing. Same thing, too long. So I was like, all right, I'm done dealing with this guy. I'll use the cable. I basically overpaid. I think some of this stuff is still good, but definitely not the plunger. So I order from another guy, and this time, I order from him made in China, on purpose, because it was like 10 bucks, and at this point, I feel like I already lost some money. So anyway, that guy sends it, same long plunger. It's wrong. So I think these all came in as kits from China, and the resellers here in the States are, selling them because they think it's for the Rancher ES, and it's not. I think this is for like a Rubicon or something. But anyway, so got frustrated. Finally ordered the original Honda kit, which is this kit here. I'll show you the difference. This is still in the sealed bag. You can still find these kits. I got this from a different guy on eBay, but there's the number if you need it. So if you look at this set, the original Honda stuff, you can see the plunger. It's about 1 inch long. It's more like black in color. And if you look at that one next to it, it's at least 3/4 of an inch too long. So anyway, finally got the right kit. This cost me like 50 something bucks, and the guy had to make me an offer. Most people want like 67 bucks for that kit. I think I ended up getting it for 50 bucks, but still, just wanted to put that out there. Be careful when you order the made in China stuff, and even if you go on eBay and you look at the pictures and like, oh yeah, the picture's right, it's the right length. Both of the guys that sent me the wrong ones, their picture on eBay is showing the right part. It's a generic picture, but they're coming in too long. don't get it, but they are. I'm hoping some of these other parts I can use as spares. But anyway, just wanted to put that out there. It's September 2024. I'm assuming at some point these guys will realize they're sending the wrong stuff. But anyway, we're going to get back to this. Just wanted to throw that in the video. More importantly, if you want the original Honda stuff, there's the number for the plunger kit, I'll call it. And there's the number for the choke cable. Alright, so there's the Honda kit I put in this box. Just want to show real quick what it comes with. Comes with the clamp right down there, tube, boot, spring, plunger, needle, whatever it's called. This is the piece that screws into the carburetor. It's going to be hard to see, but there's like a flat gasket on top of that. But anyway, that's pretty much what comes with the kit. Everything you need. So here's there's the OEM compared to the one that they kept sending me. So you can see the obvious difference. Completely different, longer. So anyway, that's what comes with it. Alright, so there's our new cable. The old one. Compared to lengths, they're exactly the same, so being OEM, that's pretty obvious. But anyway, we're going to go ahead now. We're going to take this end. This is the end that obviously goes to the carburetor. And we're going back to our string. I untied it. And you can see how I have it laced right through where the cable's going to go. And again, the whole point of this string was so you get your cable routing exactly the same. You might need a second person for this. I'm basically going to take this end and I'm going to tie it to the string, wrap some tape around it so it doesn't get caught up on anything, and basically have somebody on the other end pulling the string as you kind of ease it through. I'm going to see if I can grab my daughter to do that, but in the meantime I'm going to go ahead and get this taped on there. Alright, so I did a little pulling myself. You can see I got it up to this point now, and if you look there you can see my string, and the tape begins up here, but it goes right through this bracket. And again, if you run your string, it shouldn't even be an issue. Shouldn't even have to second guess yourself, because the cable's obviously going to be pulled through exactly where the string is. So but it does go inside this cable guide. Alright, we're going to go ahead and pull this through now. I have Amy holding it nice and straight down here at our string. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. If that starts getting caught, Amy, just kind of like feed it. See how I'm stuck already? Try to like wiggle it. There it goes. All right, word of advice, use some better string than I used. It did break already, but I still have enough here, no issues. I just had to help it through that wire tie a little bit. So there it is, it came through. Perfect. So there's our cable. Obviously we're going to undo this tape, and now we got to get involved with the carburetor. But this should be the exact route that it came out through here, through this wire tie. I don't know where it went through here. The string helps you avoid from taking the plastic off too. If you get stuck or the string breaks, you're going to have to pop the front plastic off. But now we're here, so we can get this guy mounted. All right, we're going to go ahead and pull this air box just to make our lives a little bit easier. We're getting ready to put this choke back together. So if you look down here, that's a 10 millimeter. I got it loose already. It's pretty much the only thing that's holding on the air box besides you know, where it connects to the carburetor, and then it's got these guys here. So certainly not going anywhere, but if you get that guy off of there, this air box will pull out. All right, so we're going to start piecing this together. Grab your metal tube and your rubber boot here. This is going to slide in there, obviously. This part's important. Make sure you're pushing the right end through. Don't use the small end through here. Use the big end. That'll focus. Big end has to go down here. Basically, if you put this next to it, you'll see how it goes. If you push it through the other way, it's not going to operate correctly. All right, take your ring or your clamp, slide that up the cable. Do yourself a favor, get a piece of tape or something just to hold it in place. So you're trying to do the rest of it, it's going to keep trying to slide off. All right, so once that tube's in there, it's going to kind of look like that at the end. The wide end of the metal tube is going to bottom out on this ridge right here, just before this end here. So anyway, that's what it's going to look like. Just don't want you to think that like that's going to go flush or something. That's what it's going to look like. So anyway, you're going to take this guy now, small end obviously, and this tube that's sticking out slightly is actually going to go inside of here, and then this lip here will kind of snap onto this plastic piece here. Just kind of spin it around and work it a little bit. There we go. So that's what it's going to look like all said and done. All right, we're going to go ahead and slide this on now. Make sure you push this all the way until you can't see the silver part there anymore, chrome. And you'll see that that just barely kind of sticks out of there. Grab a pair of needle nose pliers and just make sure that cable's pulled all the way out, which mine is. So that's about what it's going to look like once that's inserted all the way. All right, grab your spring now, and this guy here. Pop the spring in there, try to get it down as far as it'll go. Now you got to take this end here and try to push the spring down and kind of turn it like that, and I'll try to get a close-up of that. Once the tension's on it, that shouldn't go anywhere. But that's what it's going to look like. All right, we're going to go ahead and get this guy in there now and thread it in. Definitely easier where you can still pull your carb out a little bit. The throttle cable is hooked up, so you can only go so far. You can get it if the carburetor is completely installed, but it's really tight to get back there. It's up to you how much you want to struggle. All right, so you're going to go ahead and tighten this guy down now, obviously. 14 millimeter. Keep in mind, this fitting is plastic. Once you get it tight, make it snug, but just be careful you don't snap it. Alright, so once she's in there, you should be good to go. I'm going to put this carburetor back on, obviously. Once I do that, I'll start it up and show you guys how it's working. This guy here, actually I'll show you that once I hook that up in there. It's not rocket science. Should be a groove in there, so you get it in there, you got to loosen this bottom nut. Same thing, it's plastic, don't go crazy on it. But I'll show that real quick. Something else I wanted to mention. I had a little bit of trouble. I got this together now, but the plunger needle, I keep calling it two different things. I don't really know what to call it, to be honest with you. But the plunger with the point on it that goes inside the carburetor, mine didn't quite want to go in there and move freely. When I put it in, it was a little stiff. I did it off camera. If you have that problem, mine sat for a while without the choke hooked up, so I think moisture and stuff got in there. Yours may be fine, but what I ended up doing is when this carburetor was off, I took a piece of, I think this is like 320 grit, I didn't want anything too aggressive, and I rolled it up so that it would fit inside of the carburetor where that needle valve goes up and down, and I just took the sandpaper and just kind of worked on in there, in and out. Sprayed a little WD-40, did it a little bit more, and then I sprayed it out with some brake clean. But anyway, once I did that, it went in and out nice and easy. But if you do run into that, if it's going in hard and you put it in and you tighten it up and you try to work your throttle cable, it may stick. So definitely make sure that it's meant to go in tight. Don't get me wrong, it's got an O-ring on it. It's, you know, it's supposed to be a pretty tight tolerance, but if it's not going in and you have to force it in, just make sure that you take care of that. We're going to put that choke cable in the slot now. You got to loosen this guy up, and you can see where there's a flat side. The rest of it's round. So anyway, take that flat side. Hopefully you're seeing that. If you look at this guy here, you can see one side's flat and the other side's round. So obviously the flat side of this is going to go where the flat side of this is. It's a little tight. If you have to, you can bend this out a little bit, but we're going to go ahead and set that guy in there. .17 millimeter. So anyway, get this guy nice and tight. I'm trying to do this one-handed. These guys get in your way a little bit. Just pull them back. But anyway, snug that up. And again, plastic, just be careful. So we're going to go ahead and, once that's snug, then we're going to work this choke, and we're just going to make sure everything moves freely. Alright, so we're nice and tight now. And you can see this guy's pulling up nice and easy. So I have to assume that the plunger in the carb is moving up and down, no issues. So that's pretty much it for the choke cable. Definitely put aside a couple hours for it. And I'm going to go ahead and put this air box back on and start this thing up, make sure that it's operating properly. But anyway, hope that helps somebody. Got my vent hoses back on. So should be good to go. We're gonna again finish putting the air box on and put the seat on and see what happens.